World Economic Forum recently said that 44 trillion, almost half of global GDP, is either directly or secondarily dependent on nature and the services nature provides. So we need to understand that nature, business, society nexus. We cannot separate out each one and treat that environment is important, society is less important. All are equally important, and I think we are at crossroads for how we want our future of the planet to be. Now, unless this generation, us, and particularly Gen Z, unless they get into serious actions of remediation, the earth may not be the same as we witnessed it in the past or witnessing it now. Species extinctions. If you look at more species are dying now, and they're also saying that we are in the 6th mass extinction phase. The latest mass extinction happened about 250 million years back or so. Okay. It's all because of anthropocentrism, human
sir, we are
activities.
forgetting one of this gadget. We all are used to how harmful for the nature for that. Now 5G, now the 6G
your second spouse now instead of the first spouse.
How harmful? Because of the 6G, this is all birds swirling and all those things is dying. Birds are dying because of the 5G.
Governments, policymakers deny all these allegations. They say that this is all cooked up science. No, I'm not a policymaker. No. Policy. I'm saying no. There is no science. There was one famous actress who filed a case when 5G was being introduced into India, and a court reprimanded her. Said, "Why are you filing this now? It's a government policy matter, and they have done enough studies."
Yes, so for example, I was talking to a global impact fund. And solar is now the in thing. Everybody is putting up solar, but it is the most polluting, because the chips which you are making and the raw material which you need is being mined in China and Mongolia at the worst of the conditions, and it's mountains after mountains being eradicated. So people don't know this. We think we are doing a great work by doing solar energy, showing everything, but end of the day, what you are going back is taking away Mother Earth.
Solar, good, but we need to make it. The process needs to be made better. You can't say we won't do solar. We have to do renewable in every form. Solar became so big because we managed to market it enough. And so because you need the chips, there's some violation happening back end. But don't we need to regulate the process and still have renewable?
Regulation needs to be done in how you are mining it.
Correct.
But that mining, which is the largest mining globally for solar, is out of bounds for any regulation. Gentleman who was talking to me, he said, you can't even go into that mine. He said, for us to do a review, we had to fly on a helicopter over it. You can't land there. So that's how it has to change. So the governments there have to take the call.
Yeah. These regulations have to be local.
Yes,
and
local.
Those governments view these as revenue generating sources to boost their
that's
GDPs.
The problem there. Yeah.
We have heard of blood diamonds. We have heard of conflict minerals, and we are now hearing about all these scarce minerals.
And I think for the lady, now the lab diamonds have come in, so you can use diamonds comfortably.
So, Mahatma Gandhi once said, if every Indian aspires a life of a European, India will become the biggest locust on the world.
Yes.
Population. Now it is realizing, just extend this concept to developing countries or BRIC countries, where 45% of the global population resides. Their per capita GDPs are increasing, which is directly linked to consumption, and to meet this consumption, someone has to produce, make those goods and services. Okay, so is the world, can we have infinite growth on a finite planet?
The model of growth, or what is definition of growth, needs to also change. I don't know who had said this, but it made a lot of sense to me then, that the sign of a developed country is not where every person has a car, every poor man has a car, but where the rich take the mass transit system. And we're not even talking about that enough in so many states. The concept of growth needs to be perhaps revisited.
And policy is primarily driven by GDP growth objectives. Okay, and if India's GDP starts doing the say Hindu growth rate of 2%, 3%, governments will change.
We go the happiness index. We go the Bhutan way.
No, it will be bad. As the GDP grows, what is that? Consumption is driving GDP. So resources are being depleted, environment is being polluted, nature is being denuded. All of these things are happening. This all is happening before us, but
I don't know. Gen Z may be the answer, where they're looking at a very different world in front of them. So we don't know how governments will be rated in future. We don't know how.
You mentioned about the plastic discussions happening at a UN level. UN is discussing about there is a new concept coming up as future compact. We have seen SDGs and other things, and SDGs or sustainability will be one pillar of that, and how technology can help us achieve this balance. Okay, and most likely the COP is likely to happen this year. We might have like Brundtland Committee report on sustainable development. A new report might come up from UN with all member countries agreeing on future compact. So once this international or UN drives something, national policies change. For example, we have BRSR for top 1,000 companies. Okay, BRSR code for in a phased manner. So these things are.
It's happening. It's working. It's happening.
I think the speed of the change has to be made a bit more faster. That's important. Realization has come in, so there has to be mass inclusion to this change, which is including the people, and the speed has to speed up. So a lot of awareness has to be done. A lot of rightly said at the school level, at the whether it is a preliminary nursery or a child level school, including coming to business schools like yours, where the leaders or who come out of the business school come out with a thought of actually taking these leads importantly. What typically happens is, pardon me for saying that, but my experience of almost these 25-30 years, when we hire business school leaders who come out, so they come out with a concept of driving growth, and they forget everything because they are young. They have something to prove that I've got an education behind me and I can deliver something fantastic. So it's blindly driving growth. So many a times I tell them, hold on guys, there is growth important, but there is something else. There is also environment, there is also nature, you need to dovetail. So I think that's where you as in a business school should play an important role for them to come out. Yes, growth, you have to drive, you are youngers, the organization which hires you also, when you hire a business school graduate, my growth has to be 3x, 4x, 5x, that's the target you give them, but they also need to rationalize on that.
On that front, other than these managerial ethics and corporate sustainability courses, we also offer multiple training programs for corporates on ESG, sustainability, compliances, and all those things. And since last year, we started offering this CSR leadership program. It's 1 year online program. Only for CSR professionals. CSR spent in India today is about 28,000 crores per year, likely to grow much higher. But is it being spent the right way? How do you measure, monitor, report? What is the business case behind CSR? Is CSR a smoke screen behind the bigger damage that companies do to the environment? And 2% is not a compensation. It is not giving back actually. It is a minuscule compared to the wider degradation companies cause to the environment
from a corporate
and
side,
the society.
From a corporate side, the other important is that ESG has remained a talk of the board. It has not gone to the last man working on the shop floor. So unless the journey is done, you will not, so the board has to drive it down from the last man bottoms up approach. It has become a top driven approach. So it's percolating at a much slower speed and the waste is happening at the shop floor. So that's a turnaround structure which we have to inverse the pyramid and start working on it.